Hello! As I promised in the previous video, I show you how I set up observability for my Kubernetes environment. I checked different tools, products, but finally I decided to use Elasticsearch. I plan to use Elasticsearch as the main database for observability data, but I plan to collect metrics traces with a different tool. Elastic implemented fleet management in the new versions of Elasticsearch, and deploying an Elastic agent can make the configuration and the usage very easy. Elastic agent can be used to deploy a fleet server, an APM server can be used as an agent or sidecar, so it collects metrics and logs. Really universal component. All data are saved in a standardized structure. This is the Elastic common scheme. That's why switching between the different views of Kibana is easy. You can find your Kubernetes pods with one click and you can see its metrics, logs, APM data or all together in a dashboard. In this tutorial, we will install to our host Elasticsearch database, Kibana for querying our data and visualizing them, and Elastic Agent as a fleet and APM server. Then we deploy Elastic Agent as a daemon set to our Kubernetes cluster for collecting data. Let's start with the installation of Elasticsearch. Just follow the official instructions, get the necessary key to be able to install software from the repository of Elastic, install a couple of packages, update, and finally install Elasticsearch. After the installation, a lot of useful information are printed to the console, like your super user password and how to generate tokens for enrolling other software like Kibana. Save this info for later. The final steps are related to the Elasticsearch service. Do not forget to enable it so after a restart the service starts up automatically. Now it's time to install Kibana. Generate an enrollment token as it was printed to the console after Elasticsearch installation. Run Kibana's setup utility and enter the token. Start the service and enable it. You can see in the logs that Kibana was started, but on the localhost. In this way, we cannot access it. Modify the server host setting in Kibana's configuration file and restart the service. Now you should be able to access Kibana from your browser. The next step is the installation of Elastic Agent to our host. We need fleet server and APM server functionality from this component. Fleet server provides the configuration for the Elastic Agent so they know what kind of data to collect and where to send them. Find Fleet in the menu of Kibana. It's in the Management section, and add a fleet server. You have to create a policy first. This tells the agent that it should work as a fleet server. You can also specify to collect immediately some logs and metrics from the host and a namespace for your data streams. For a faster setup, choose Quick Start, so certificates will be generated. Then you have to download Elastic Agent. I should choose the proper architecture for my Raspberry Pi. Elastic's repository provides Elastic Agent, so I don't have to download it manually. While I'm waiting for the installation, I can configure my policy. The most important is to specify fleet server's address. In the fleet settings, I should define the elasticsearch host or hosts where agents should send data. The next step is to generate a service token for enrolling my agent. Kibana generates an environment-specific command. It helps you to start the fleet server. Let's find the executable of Elastic Agent. I change the IP of my Elasticsearch server. Well, it didn't go as I expected. We have already installed Elastic Agent. Let's try enroll. The enrollment tried to find configuration in a wrong place. That's why it's necessary to specify path to the configuration too. After this, the fleet server connected. You can verify the state of your agents in the fleet menu. Let's check what's new in the observability section. The agent has already started collecting logs. It stored them in the structure defined by Elastic Common Schema, so you can filter easily. For example, to your syslog. Just check if you see the same as in the file on the file system. Great. I don't have to log on to the host. I can see the logs in Kibana. What about metrics? I see my host in the inventory. When I click on it, I see immediately visualization of performance data. With one click, I'm in the logs again. Performance data can be visualized per process, so I see exactly the resource consumption of my Kubernetes nodes. Some metadata about my host, like IPs, OS info. Nothing in the anomalies, osquery, APM, and uptime tabs at the moment. Let's continue with Kubernetes pods and deploy Elastic Agent to the Kubernetes cluster. We can follow the official instructions from Elastic again. Elastic provides a pre-prepared deployment manifest file, so we only have to change a few parameters. We also need a new policy for our Kubernetes nodes, pods. Let's create it. I call it K3S and I change the namespace. In this way, I can identify data coming from my Kubernetes cluster, not from my host. Now we add a new agent with the new policy. Let's edit the manifest file for Kubernetes. Change the server URL, add the token for enrollment, The next step is to deploy this file. Everything was created successfully. Let's check the state of the deployment. Well, the pod has some problems with image pooling. We have to figure out what went wrong. It seems that the Docker image doesn't exist. We can verify this in the repository. It's really not there, so we have to use an older version. I modified the version number in the manifest file to 821 and redeploy the manifest file. It really helped. The agent is deployed on both Kubernetes nodes because a daemon set ensures that all or some nodes run a copy of the pod. Great. So let's check what we can see in Kibana. But first, we have to modify our application to send data to our APM server. As usual, you can find the source code in the description. Just click to the link. We have to import some packages from Elastic, set server URL where we will send APM data, and we also define service name. Under this name, you will find your data in Kibana. The application is pretty simple. It prints hi to the console, but it's also a web service, so we can call it. We use scheduler to call this in every 10 seconds. So we have some data in APM and we have some logs. Now we should really see some results in Kibana. So let's check the Kubernetes pods. I see all of them. This is our hello world pod. Let's check if it logged anything today. Great. Now let's try to find some metrics. This we can see also. So the last part is APM data. Here are the services. This is our application. You can see latency, throughput, transactions, errors. And here are our pods. Here is our web service. You can see the latency distribution and you can find a lot of details like request, transaction, and some metadata. Dependencies we don't have, but we have errors. It's nice that you can go to the source code and you see where this error appeared. We also have some metrics and log. This is the access log of our web service. If you click to overview, you will get a nice dashboard where you can see alerts, log events, post metrics, your services, and many more on one page. Another nice feature is osquery. Here you can write an SQL query and query your agents. Now I run something for all of my agents. Let's execute this query. Or if you click to this link, you will see all of the tables which you can query. You can write query for almost anything. It's possible to query processes, your disks, it's possible to get information about a file on the file system. So really anything. I run this query and check the result. My agents got the query and sent the result. Here you can see my users from my Ubuntu host. That's pretty cool. Let's check the open ports on my servers. That also works. And that's it. Your observability system is ready. Now you don't have to log on to your pods, check the logs there, or find out what went wrong in your application. You can simply go to Kibana and check everything there. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to this channel and give feedback in the comment section.